Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And with the most recent batch of content, including the Harvest event and the Progenitor quest, we also got the next iteration of the OCTAGRAM emblem ceremony, this time facing off against Milim. So clicking into that, we have a couple stages. The first two are pretty easy, and they do give you 2 copies of the Drago amulet, which is going to give space, dark, and fire attack, and then crit damage. And when it's leveled up, I believe it's like 5% here and 20% crit damage. So the last time we got this, it was synergy in different elements. Now it's crit. I assume we'll get a Pierce and an Aegis one soon. Well, soon being the next couple of months. But there are other stages as well. The Dance of War is a semi-difficult stage. It's against Milim with 3 million, almost 4 million actually. But there is a more difficult stage called the Death's Crossing Ritual, and this Milim has 5 million HP. So we're going to do this stage, and if whatever team I show off can do Death's Crossing, it can do the Dance of War as well. There's also a 10 times parallel processing stage that is related to missions for this event. If we go into the mission tab, it is pretty much parallel process, or clear it like 100 times or something, and then fully awaken the accessories. So clear 100 times, evolve it, awaken it, evolve it, awaken it. So it's all related to doing the parallel processing and the accessory itself. So no specific team building stages. But what makes this difficult is that there are not a lot of Earth teams, just straight up. There's Prosper, there's Warrior's Mind 1, and there's Spirit Master, and that's really the only relevant ones, unfortunately. So your options for Earth specifically are not great. But Milim only nerfs oranges, and it's only by 80%, which means that you could very much burst through that. Otherwise, single target attack, Pierce and Pierce Power, Lord's Ambition, nullifies status effects, and a 6-hit barrier that you have to get through. So we'll show off our 3 Earth teams, and then maybe like 2 more after that for Scourge Wielder and something else, but let's go ahead and get started. Alright, first up is going to be the Spirit Master meta, the newest Earth team, and we're going to run it with just half the meta. So we've got the hero, Velzard, Leon, who came out on the first banner for Spirit Master, and then the free-to-play Ritus. We've got the free-to-play Rieger, because he's alt-swapping, orb-changing, and then we've got Violet for the magic buff, and more orb-changing. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 orb-changers, 2 alt-swappers on this team, although Rieger is generic, and Ritus only changes Earth, so have to make do around that. But the amount of power this team has means that we will be able to clear. It's just that we can't nuke on turn 5 because they have Milim has Lord's Ambition, which means that our Aegis debuff won't take effect. And on turn 5, she has the barrier. Or turn 6, she has the barrier. So we have to wait till turn 7 to nuke, or we go earlier than that. Either if you have a different team build and you can dish out the raw damage in 4 turns, then by all means you can do that as well. But for this team, we're gonna make it seem like you have to go a little bit later. The 3-star mission is just clearing it within 10 turns, which this team can very much do. It's just that this hand is kind of shit. So we're just gonna send the 3 greens and deal with it later. But now we have 76 points, which means we can full convert here. So we'll change those 2 or those 3 with Violet, and then we'll bring Rieger in, and we'll use his convert to get those last oranges done, and we'll do our first 2 stacks of the hero. Now, if you have the Spirit Master Jean and the Rimuru or the Rimuru, then your life becomes easier. Rimuru can replace Leon. You'll lose the alt buff, well, the team-wide alt buff and the orb changing, but Rimuru has his transformation. He has the future hand of blues. He has the rainbows when he's transformed, so very easily would be able to do that with him. Velzard, you don't need, right? She's on the team, that's great, fine, whatever. But if you want to bring a different, just support character in general, Milim doesn't have any defense against any of the buffs. So you could bring Synergy or Crit or Pierce and it would still work fine. So easily replaceable characters. Leon being the single target earth nuking character, kind of important, and being magic, so he has the full super weak point. But we're on turn 5. We have the EX ult with Leon, But, again, Lord's Ambition on Milim means that we cannot fully use the Aegis debuff from Velzard. So we kind of want that. That's a lot of our damage. So we're going to just alt convert, and then we'll bring Redis in, and we'll just send these orbs. She's going to put the 6-hit barrier up on turn 6, which is, again, kind of annoying. Not much we can do about it. We don't have multi-hits on this team. You could bring someone with multi-hits if you wanted to, but definitely not necessary. On turn 5, she also removes your statuses, so we didn't get the ult or anything, or didn't get the heal. You wouldn't get you wouldn't get Reckoning. You wouldn't get the Prosper Lumi heal or something, but as long as we break the barrier here, so we're going to send the Velzard ult, because we'll still get the weakness strike for it, but we'll break the barrier, and then turn 7, we could do all 3 of our big-time buffs. The Violet buff, the Leon buff, the Velzard buff, and the Frostbite to enhance the debuff from Velzard as well. And then we do double the damage that we need to do here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. We don't even really need to use any stacks with the hero, because this is not the first time I've run this team here. So I know how much damage we're about to do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Velzard, 620k. She's a support ult, whatever. And then Leon does 10 million. Double the damage of what Milim has at full HP, and she was not at full. So, very easily done. That's our first clear. Most of these units are, again, substitutable to free-to-plays. You don't need Velzard. You don't need Violet. You don't even need Leon, but you do need some kind of earth-nuking character if you want this to go smoothly. Alright, next is going to be the old Warrior's Mind team from the 1.5 anniversary. So take the Spirit Master meta, subtract 2 years, and this is what you get. So Velzard, Rimuru, Lumi, Blanc, because she's going to be good for alt swapping and the weakness strike, and then Guy and Violet. So this team, much older, much less powerful, but we have 2 single target nukers, and between the buffs from everyone, we can get the job done. Just keep in mind that my Violet is skill fused, so she's doing extra crit damage and extra alt resistance down. But as we'll see, really not that important. Realistically, you don't need Blanc. You could bring another converting character if you want to. Like, you could put Rieger back on this team. But, you know, turn 1 we got lucky here with only Violet orbs that need to be converted, so we could bring her in and use that, and then we can bring Guy in. But Blanc is utility. Yes, her damage is helpful, the weakness strike, but we're not running a synergy team, so half of that skill isn't useful. So you can bring another orange converter or green converter. You could bring the free-to-play Warrior's Mind Xion that came with this meta, and that would work. She'd also give you stacking crit damage, which would help. It could offset the weakness strike if you get enough of it. But here, like, we only really have 2 converters, and it's Violet who only changes hers, and then it's Guy who changes 2 greens and 1 orange. And we don't have enough points to convert that last blue. So the second turn is kind of a gimme, unfortunately. Now that we still don't get any blue orbs, realistically, we're still kind of stuck. So we could make the decision to convert with Guy or convert with Lumi yet again. Really up to you. But here, we're just going to take Guy out. Why? Because I'm not concerned about getting his ult, because we have Evil Rimuru, who can ult rush Earth and Space characters. So we don't need to have Guy up front every turn. It's not like we need a Seal to run off. We would want him to get the stacks from Velzard, because she's an old protector. She doesn't stack on the back line. But we don't need him up front forever. And yet again, we have a hand that needs 2 converts. But at least we have 200 points to pull from now, so we can do this. So Violet convert again. We can bring Guy in, and we can use his convert, and then we get a full hand of blues. What would really help is if we could ult rush, and we could have 2 guaranteed ults taking up some of those spaces. That way we could just convert with Blanc, and that would make our conversions a lot easier. So we can do that this next turn, which is turn 5, which is the Lord's Ambition turn. So this team is not ready to nuke on turn 5. It does not have power. We need to wait till turn 8 to get Lumi's extra crit resistance down skill to really help us do additional damage. But here, Now we can alt swap with the single Rimuru, because he can do it, but only one. Which is why we brought Blanc. She can do 3. We can convert with Guy. We could do the Lumi gimmick, which is an extra, a third in some cases, protection stack. So that's 36% attack we're getting on this one turn, plus the extra skill points on blues and raising our skill cap. And after we've done all that, we could now alt rush with Rimuru, who's giving 90% alt gauge to Earth and Space. So now we have 3 guaranteed alts this turn, and we can cut down on our converting, which is great. Makes things a little bit cheaper. So, alright, thank you. She does do damage. Here's the barrier. We're still not ready to nuke, so we're not concerned about these gimmick turns. But let's bring Blanc in for Lumi. We could convert here, or alt swap here, sorry. And then we could bring Violet in for Blanc. She has 1 orb, and we could use both converts. But now we're like really good on points. So, boom, boom. Do another stack of Velzard. A 6th hand will break the barrier. And technically you could nuke on turn 7 if you wanted to, if you're confident in your damage. I was not sure how much damage we were actually going to do with this team, because it is so very old. But the Violet skill fusion, as I mentioned before, as you'll see on turn 8, really not necessary because of our damage output. You can go with an unskill fused Violet and you would be just fine. So let's Blanc here. Let's do the 1 convert with Guy and do double stack of Velzard. And then next turn is 8. We're ready to nuke. Milim no longer has that Pierce buff, so she's not nearly as dangerous on this turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. Now Rimuru and Guy have their Unbound status activated, so they're going to do extra damage. That's cool and all. But yeah, not that much. So now it's turn 8. 504 points. Let's do the Blanc Weakness Strike. Cool. We'll bring Violet in and we'll do her crit damage and alt resistance down. And then we'll bring Lumi in so we can use the physical buff, the crit resistance down. And then we'll do Guy's guaranteed crits, alt damage. We could convert because we have the points for it for a full 6-hand send. And we could lower Milim's defense with the alt rush skill from Rimuru and get another stack of Velzard. So we'll send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lumi does 463. Rimuru does 5 million by himself. And we still had the Guy alt following up. So that's why I'm saying you don't necessarily need Violet skill fusion if you have 2 single target alts. If she doesn't die from Rimuru's, she's gonna die from Guy's, even without the skill fusion. Alright, the next team is the stupid Prosper team. Maribel, Elmisia, Rieger, Rimuru, Lumi. We're bringing OCTAGRAM Lumi. We don't actually use her. We probably should have used her. You could also replace her with like Visions of Coleus Violet or just some other buffing character. This team does extra damage against space. That's fine and dandy and everything, but Rimuru is the only single target here, and he's just not very impressive. So, if you have to run Prosper, then sure, go ahead. But, I mean, if you have any of the other options, please use those. If not in the options in this video, then the next video. There will be a second one showing off non-Earth teams. But we'll do the convert with Rieger here. We'll get 5 blues. That'll give us access to Maribel. Maribel gives us Guard and Super Guard, and also the control stacks and extra skill points on blues. And she could passively reset by 10 every single turn. So she's doing a lot. It's just that she really shines in an AoE setting when everyone has control stacks and not just one character. Because we're only getting 15% weakness strike right here, because we only have 1 stack and there's only 1 enemy. But the idea with this team is that you get the full HP kind of gimmick, and then you nuke on turn 8 when Rimuru has access to his second skill, the Awaken skill, which gives you another 120 skill points. And that gives you enough points to use his other buff and Elmisia's alt and alt resistance down, preferably on turn 8. However, because I mismanage here and I don't buff up Lumi and I don't buff up Elmisia, they're missing quite a bit of additional damage. I should be using OCTAGRAM Lumi almost every turn, but I'm so focused on getting Rimuru's alt that I kind of forget about it. And I'm not using the Enamor skill right here, because I want to keep things cheap and I don't want to have to use Rieger every single turn. But now it's turn 5, we have to alt swap. And we could use his other convert and have Lumi kind of go down in cost a little bit, which is cool. But I don't want to use Lumi's resurrection state early because it's a one-time thing, and if I have it on turn 5, Milim's going to remove it. So I can't use that until closer to the end of the fight. So we don't really care about using the Enamor HP thing. We don't want to use the HP resurrection skill here, because after she's done ulting us, which I guess I didn't skip for some reason. All right, there we go. 1. And then that miss right there, that was the removal of any statuses, which the resurrection state would be. So we would lose that, and we would have no more healing. And that would kind of defeat the whole purpose. So another turn of only Rieger converting, that's good. And Rimuru still doesn't have an EX ult. Lumi is close, but now we can use the resurrection, and we can use the extra HP to make sure that Rimuru is going to be fully capped out, because the more HP he has, the more crit resistance debuff that he gets or puts on the enemy. We want that to be maxed out, and it just means that we're not in danger of dying here, even with her Pierce skills, which are now gone. So we're really not in danger. But this is turn 7. We are about ready to nuke. We have an EX ult for Lumi. We're about to get an EX ult for Rimuru. With the Enamor and the orbs that we're sending here, we're going to get a normal ult for Elmisia. And we had 60 points. I should have brought OCTAGRAM Lumi in to buff, but I didn't. So, as we'll soon see on turn 8, I do not have enough goddamn power. So if you have to use this team, please play it better than I do. I despise using this team still to this day. It's almost as bad as the follow-up or Tempest Elite teams. But now we've used Rimuru's second skill, which gives us the extra points, allows us to use the other skills, and then Lumi 590, Elmisia 600 something, Rimuru 2.9, and she has just a little sliver of HP, but we didn't have enough points to convert, and we didn't have enough damage to kill, so we gotta sit here a little bit longer. But now I can't use Rimuru's second skill. It's a one-time thing, so I need to make back some points here. Thankfully, with the skill reset that Maribel has, we can now use the full hand convert into blues. That gets us max points. And now with this hand, we could do a convert again and the crit debuff and buff with Rimuru. And that will finally allow us to kill on turn 10, which is the mission, right? The 3-star mission, kill within 10 turns. This is turn 10. So yeah, it didn't go great, but we were still able to get it done. Just bring or use more support buffs for the AoE units and we would have been fine. Even probably like 2 stacks. 1 stack of each Lumi buff from OCTAGRAM Lumi probably would have pushed us over the edge. Alright, and to finish the video, just because I wanted to use them for old time's sake, we have, shockingly, the Idolmaster collab, which is another Earth stacking meta. And for most players, you're going to be like, what the fuck? When did this happen? It happened in December of 2023. This was the Christmas meta, as seen by Idol Shuna, who you can still pull, because she's not technically an Idolmaster character, and she wasn't in an Idolmaster outfit, so she is still available. But we had an Idolmaster collab, which was an Earth-stacking, green-focused meta, but it was Rimuru who was converting 3 and 3 to greens, while also making all pretty sparkle allies literally invincible, and stacking magic attack. And that half of that gimmick was him. The other gimmick was the green orb mechanic from the girls, which is live mode, which is for every green orb you send in a turn, you get 2% permanent attack. So in a turn where you're sending 6 greens, you can get 12% attack. And Rimuru is stacking 12% magic attack every time you use him, while making you invincible. So 12 attack, 12 magic attack, you're stacking with Shizuka, who's giving ult resistance down, weakness strike, the live mode. Mirai has the live mode and a future hand of greens. We've brought free-to-play Isis for the green buff. And then we've got the free-to-play Tsubasa, who is a converter and a little bit of an attack buffer. Not super great on this specific stage, but hey, whatever. But we have 4 characters who are going to be invincible. And then Christmas Idol Shuna has the double ult swap to greens. You've probably used her maybe once or twice since she came out, since she still is available on banners. But here, I mean, Rimuru, 12% attack, changing everything to greens. We got the live mode, so we're getting permanent attack and permanent magic attack. This team isn't very strong, right? But this is the first team that allowed us to hit true damage cap back in 2023. So, I mean, it wasn't nearly as high. It was like 1 billion damage or something. And they just have announced fairly recently that they're going to up that to even higher than the 2.14 billion. So, yeah, it was fun. It took forever to do it, but, I mean, this team was triple stacking effects. Attack, magic attack, weakness strike. Alt resistance down, 4 things. So, given enough time, you could hit very, very high numbers of damage. But in a burst setting, not very good. Its whole gimmick was keeping you literally invincible. Which is also part of the reason why enemies remove status effects. Because it nerfs Reckoning, it nerfs Resurrection, and it nerfs Invincibility. Not that people are using the Idolmaster team at this point in their lifespan, because most players don't have them. Because they weren't playing during the Idolmaster collab. I just thought it was funny to try and break it out, because we have a space stage, and we could use whatever we want as far as orb cut, well, damage buffs, and they're a green team. They're not an orange team. So, yeah, turn 6. We haven't really done that much damage to them. And we're going to ult on turn 8, as is tradition with a stacking team like this. And the damage is kind of pathetic. Kind of pathetic, but hey, it's fun. I've been having kind of a little bit extra fun this last weekend recording very old teams that no one thinks about, because we can, and I can use them. You know, it's always fun to use the Tails collab or the Freerun team, but what if you used the Goddess of Destiny meta, like we did for the Primordial event Stage 3? Isn't that fun? Isn't that nice? People have those units, right? People don't have the Idolmaster units, but okay. So turn 7, we nuked actually, not on turn 8. But yeah, we didn't really do 5 million damage right there, now did we? So we're gonna have to go a bit deeper into the fight. But, you know, we can convert still, we can remain invincible. Even though Milim removes our invincibility status on turn 5, it's after she's done attacking. So we were still protected that entire turn, and she doesn't do it again. She has Lord's Ambition on turn 9, which means I don't really want to ult, because I do want the ult resistance down that Shizuka puts on. But we can nuke on turn 10, which is again still within the terms of the 3-star mission clear, just like the Prosper team was. But, you know, our damage has been going up and up and up and up, just kind of slowly. So, here we go, turn 10. Let's go ahead and nuke. Let's do the synergy buff and one more stack of weakness strike, just for fun. I mean, we could use Reamer if we wanted to, but I'm not. 500k and 780k. And there we go. There are 4 Earth-focused teams that you can use to clear the hardest stage of the OCTAGRAM Emblem event. I will have another video going out probably tomorrow covering other teams that are not Earth-focused that still have enough power to burst this shit down. There are a lot of them. So stay tuned for that, but that's it from me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.